The first story that I ever did on critical race theory as a reporter was a story from the city of Seattle's racial justice training program. When I got this anonymous tip in my inbox, I was really stunned once I acquired these documents. The city of Seattle was teaching, of course, that all white people are racist, that whites should atone for the sins of their whiteness and their skin color. They were teaching that virtues like individuality and rationality and showing up on time are characteristics of so-called white supremacy. All of the training kind of concepts and ideas that you've heard over the last 2 years, as I've done reporting, as others have done reporting on critical race theory, it all started with this story. And so when I saw this news story cross my desk this week, I was kind of taken back to that time when I first started on this reporting journey, because the story is quite simple. A man named Joshua Diemert is a former City of Seattle employee, and he filed a lawsuit against the city alleging that the city had created an environment of really extreme and repeated anti-white racial discrimination, scapegoating, harassment that violated his civil rights. That was so egregious, it constitutes a violation of those basic principles of the 14th Amendment and the Civil Rights Act. The allegations are extreme. I'll read you part of the lawsuit with these allegations. It reads, quote, "As part of his Race and Social Justice Initiative training in 2019, Mr. Diemert attended a 2-day Undoing Institutional Racism workshop. The UIR workshop is rooted in critical race theory, and the facilitators at the event stated that, quote, white people are like the devil, that racism is in white people's DNA, and that, quote, white people are cannibals. In or around April of 2017, Mr. Diemert's supervisor, Tina Ine, refused to give him any assistance, telling him he should step down because of his FMLN needs, and so on and so forth. And then, quote, berated Mr. Diemert for using his, quote, white privilege to keep the position and told him he was responsible for denying a person of color an opportunity for promotion." And so the backstory is Mr. Diemert alleges that he was not only racially scapegoated, told that because of his skin color he was a white supremacist, he was forced to attend racially segregated training programs where he was denounced for his whiteness, but actually he was told in no uncertain terms that he would be denied career advancement because of his skin color, because of his racial category. And so, I mean, the whole text of this lawsuit is really astonishing. You can imagine a trainer, supposedly a professional, getting up there and insisting, telling the group of people, kind of mixed group of people that, quote, white people are cannibals. Sure, I mean, I guess we had the Donner Party. I imagine in kind of the Middle Ages, prehistory, there were probably white cannibals. I mean, there's probably instances of cannibalism that are universal. But kind of a bold claim, and one that is obviously used to antagonize people, to dehumanize people, to create a dichotomy of oppressor and oppressed based on skin color, and then use it to browbeat white employees. And again, I lived in Seattle. I've reported quite a bit on Seattle. This is par for the course. And I think that it doesn't surprise me at all to read these allegations. And so what's the significance of this? Why is this an important lawsuit? I think it's important because it really challenges the existing civil rights regime. Yes, of course, the law as it is in text. Again, the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, the Civil Rights Act of 1964. But there's actually an apparatus, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the Civil Rights Commissions, the courts and other institutions that are responsible for actually enforcing the law, for hearing cases, for trying various legal challenges. Seems to be, in my experience, my observation, one way. Corporations, government agencies feel like they can get away with, frankly, saying that white people are like the devil in a training program. They say racism is in white people's DNA. That is a totally, seems like a kind of an okay concept to use to many people, because they know they're not going to get in trouble in the same way that it would be if it were applied to any other group. And so you have, in practice, what is really a kind of one-way civil rights enforcement regime. And this lawsuit challenges that. The premise of the lawsuit is, does everyone have civil rights? Does everyone deserve to be treated equally? And in this case, does someone from a majority racial group in the state of Washington or the city of Seattle have the same protections against racial discrimination, scapegoating, and harassment as everyone else? I mean, the answer, according to the courts, according to the clear language in the law, is yes. Civil rights are for everyone. Everyone deserves to be treated equally under the law. And yet, the case law and the incentives and the culture surrounding these issues really makes them one way. And so I think as we are seeing these lawsuits, there's one here in Seattle, there's other ones that are springing up across the country in schools and private companies and government agencies, we're building up another level of enforcement to try to shift those incentives. And I think that's really positive. And look, I think if governments want to do training on how to treat people equally, on how not to scapegoat people because of their race or ethnicity or national origin, how to treat everyone as an individual rather than an avatar of a racial class, and then to kind of treat everyone with equal dignity, that's good. We should do that. We should absolutely strive to do that. But what these turn out to be are really cult indoctrination sessions. They have people in the city of Seattle, as I've reported, stand up and say, my name is Rick, I'm white, I'm guilty of white supremacy. I mean, they have people confess sins that they didn't commit, but that they're supposedly guilty for because of their ancestry, because of their background. I mean, that is, wrong. I think it's un-American, and I also think it's illegal. And so I wish Mr. Diemert the best of luck. This is an important lawsuit. It's being filed by a great legal group called the Pacific Legal Foundation. They handle a lot of these conservative-leaning activist lawsuits. And this is really what I think of as the initial set of lawsuits. Over the last year, we've seen them bubbling up that can actually start to change incentives. And so what I would like to see is I'd like to see the city of Seattle lose. I'd like to see them get a huge fine. I'd like to see them get some kind of serious penalty for this so that the lawyers in the city of Seattle government start to say, hey, you know what? Next time we do one of these trainings, let's not say that white people are cannibals. That's really not appropriate for teaching government employees. And I think if we can do that, I think then we're going to start to see these things change, start to see these things even out. Because the goal, again, is for people to go to work, to be treated with dignity, to be treated fairly, to be treated equally, without this kind of left-wing racialist ideology being stuffed down their throats. And you see some of these people, do they have time even to work? I mean, it seems like they're in kind of struggle sessions, 26 hours a week. They take a 2-hour kind of government employee lunch, and then they're maybe putting in 30 minutes of work per day. This time could be much better used elsewhere.